$6,000 per family. That's what we're talking about in today's stimulus update. Let's jump right into it. Hi, my name is Jim Hart. I'm the founding attorney here at Hawthorn Law, where we help online businesses get their legal house in order so that you can focus on what you do best, and that is building a business that truly matters. Hopefully that's what you're doing these days. We're stuck at home with this coronavirus thing. Stay-at-home orders are starting to get lifted. Hopefully, I'm still stuck at home. I'm gonna be here for the foreseeable future, and I've been working on building this YouTube channel, and hopefully you're doing something to also make your life better. But in the meantime, we've got to tell you about an update that's going on with the stimulus package. So yesterday, the Democrats unveiled in the House of Representatives their plan. It's called the HEROES Act. It is the biggest stimulus package to date. It is a $3 trillion behemoth of a stimulus package, and as I like to say, if you don't go big, you might as well go home, because that's what they're doing. They're going big with this plan, and there's a lot to cover. I'm gonna go through it bit by bit, unedited, as quickly as I can, and then I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my thoughts on where I think this plan is going to go. So first off, this is going to provide additional payments of $1,200 per individual, or $2,400 for a married couple, just like with the CARES Act. It's doing the exact same thing as the CARES Act when it comes to individuals and married couples. The limits are the same. It's still $75,000 is the income cap for an individual, or $150,000 per family for a married couple. However, there is a little twist. Last time, if you remember, it provided for a $500 payment per dependent, up to a maximum of 3 dependents. Under this plan, however, they've increased that payment to $1,200 per dependent, up to a maximum of 3. So whereas last time the maximum benefit you could get was, if I'm doing my math correct, $3,900, under this plan the maximum benefit you're going to be entitled to is going to be $6,000. Now the nice thing about that is, if this bill actually does go through, these payments should be made relatively quickly, because the IRS already has your bank account information, which you should have provided from their Get My Payment portal. The deadline for that is today. Incidentally, you've got to add your information by noon today. I don't know if this video is going to be up by then, but if it is, make sure to run over and do that if it is not noon yet when you're watching this. So that is the good news from this bill, that there will be another round of payments. In addition, this bill is going to fix some loopholes that were present in the previous bill. So for instance, under the previous bill, immigrants and dependents over the age of 17 were previously ineligible for payments. So under this bill, they would fix that. So those dependents would get, and those immigrants would get payments for the CARES Act and this bill, which is a nice little cleaning up of the act. Also, this bill will make it clear that if you are receiving government benefits, including Social Security, supplemental security income, and if you're a veteran, then you're automatically going to get the payment. You're not going to need to worry about it. So the max is going to be $6,000 per family. Now, there's a couple other things that this bill does. Number one is it's going to extend the $600 per week unemployment benefit for the federal unemployment benefit. Now, for people that are receiving that now, that benefit is going to run out in July. So this would extend it until January of 2021. In addition, it would maintain benefits for the self-employed people, gig workers, independent contractors who might be eligible to receive unemployment under the CARES Act. It's going to extend those benefits for those people as well through March of 2021, as opposed to December when they were supposed to run out. Also, this bill is going to provide a $200 billion fund to give hazard pay to people, to our heroes who have stayed on the job during the pandemic, and a lot of the people that have stayed on the job, many of them have contracted the coronavirus. And so this is going to provide a fund to help out in providing hazard pay to those individuals. In addition, we knew this was coming. It's going to be providing an additional $1 trillion. I did a video about this over here. $1 trillion to state and local governments who desperately need these funds because their tax revenue is drying up and they have increased expenses related to everything that's going on with this pandemic. It'll provide an additional $75 billion for coronavirus testing, contact tracing, etc. A couple other things they're adding on. They're going to increase the food stamp benefit, the maximum food stamp benefit by 15%, and provide an additional $175 billion to help renters and homeowners, as well as provide subsidies to Americans who have lost their employer-sponsored health insurance during this pandemic. So there's a lot in this bill. Where do I think it's going? Well, number one, as I mentioned before, Mitch McConnell and the Republicans in the Senate have already said this is dead on arrival. A few videos ago, I talked about how a bill becomes a law. It has to pass first the House of Representatives, and then it has to go through the Senate. And both the Senate and the House of Representatives have to pass the same bill. If the House passes one version and the Senate passes a different version, they have to reconcile those bills, and they go back and both have to pass the same bill. So what I think is going to happen is I think this bill is going to get passed by the House of Representatives. I think they're going to send it to the Senate, and then the Senate is either going to rework it, or they're going to not consider it at all, or they're going to change a bunch of things. Who knows what they're going to do. So I think this bill is going to go from the House. I think it's going to go to the Senate, where I honestly don't know what the Senate is going to do with it. As of right now, they've said they're not going to do anything with it, which means the bill just might be DOA in the Senate, go nowhere. Now, assuming the bill got through both chambers of Congress, it would go to the president for his signature. At this point, I don't know what the president would do, because they've said they're going to kind of take a wait and see approach about this at this point. Previously, they were saying they were on board with the fourth stimulus. Now they're saying they kind of want to wait and see what happens. What I think personally is going to happen is I think this is definitely going to go through the House. I think there might be some minor tweaks and changes, but I do think it's going to get passed in the House. I think it's going to be sent to the Senate, where it might sit. I don't know if it's going to be dead on arrival, but what I think is going to happen is I think we're going to wait and see how things play out in the coming weeks as states start to open up. In my opinion, I think as states start to open up, we're going to see another round of the coronavirus pop up. I think the pandemic is not going away. I think that even though people would like to say it's going away, it's not going away. I think as the cases start to spike up again because the states are opening up, then states are going to have to shut down again, and in which case the Senate is going to be forced to take up this bill and either vote yay or nay. This could be a bit of a political ploy on the part of the Democrats, because now they're putting this into the senators' hands, and in a couple months we're going to be very close to elections in November, and if you have this pandemic that is going crazy, it spikes up again. We have a second round of the pandemic in the fall, and now they're forced to vote on this, and the election may very well become a referendum on how those senators handle this bill that comes to them and whether or not they're going to take it up. And as we all know, Mitch McConnell cares nothing, if he doesn't care, about whether or not he's going to get reelected. So he's going to do what's in his best interest, and if he thinks getting reelected hinges on him passing this bill, I think that's going to happen. If he thinks that, his constituents and the president does not want this bill to go through, then Mitch McConnell, I think, is going to take whatever side the White House takes on this bill. If you want to hear more about the stimulus package, I've got other videos right here. Check them out, and we'll see you as soon as there's an update.